everyone. Today on Cosmic Connections, I have a special guest. I have Victoria Smoot. We're going to talk today about her presentation she's giving at the Fractal Cosmos Conference.
Right.
That is coming up this coming weekend. It is the 29th through the 31st, and it is online. If you'd like to know more about it, you can check out the link below. We're going to talk about Vicky's lecture presentation. It's called Venus Unchained. And I'm really excited about it because I'm a Venus person. Venus is the ruler of my ascendant, so I'm curious to hear about it, although we don't want to hear the whole conversation because we want you to come to the conference and meet us. But yeah, how are you doing before we even dig into that?
I'm doing well. We have wonderful weather today, and I'm really happy. My grandson went to college, and it makes me feel so good inside.
Hmm.
Things like going very well right now.
That's awesome. That's wonderful. Before we even dig in, I always like to ask my guests what brought you to where you're at right now with astrology and presenting? Like, what was the one event or maybe series of events that happened in your life to bring you to this space?
Oh, I've been doing astrology since the 1970s. So I have a lot of years and a lot of ups and downs. I was involved with a local astrology group, and I was vice president of that Aquarian Age astrology group in Fairview Park, Ohio.
Mm.
And I worked at getting speakers, and um, I was studying under Buzz Myers and Mary Boyer at the time. Both of them are excellent. Um, Dennis Fairchild was a friend of Mary's. Buzz was a friend of Mary's. Ray Merriman was a great friend of Mary's. And so that's kind of a little family here in the Great Lakes area of people I got to know and studied. And I studied mostly on my own. I didn't take a course at that time, but I was buying books like crazy
Yeah,
and taking trips to Egypt and trying to learn about not just astrology, but I think I was a real seeker at the time, acquiring books and recording lectures and things like that. And I just kept growing with it and never really let it go. It was always my favorite pastime, even though when I had jobs or teaching jobs. But now I do it more as a focus of my life, and that feels really good. I'm still got so much to learn.
right. That's one of the things about astrology is it seems like they're lifelong learners, people that are astrologers.
Absolutely. Right
Yeah.
now I'm on the learning curve with VA, vibrational,
Hmm.
and I've taken it about 2 years. Before that, I did 2 years of Vedic astrology. I took a course with Gemini Brett in astronomy for astrologers. Highly recommend him.
Awesome. Yeah, I know who he is.
Yeah, yeah, he really helps you see the chart in the sky and the sky in the chart.
And that's so important because when you put the context to it with
Hmm.
what's going on in the sky and the astrology chart, it for
I
me
mean,
it's like a
talk about evidence based. Right there they are out the window, you know.
right, right. Have you seen the pictures where they zoom in and it's actually just like a either a really good camera or
I
like
have a couple apps on my phone I can zoom in
that's so
and
cool. Yeah, and you
see
can
where
see the
things are.
movements. Yep.
Yeah, those are very helpful.
So cool. So cool. So that's really a beautiful story of coming from decades of learning and growing, and here you are learning and working with
Yeah,
evidence-based astrology.
there was a local shop and a lady, friend, Betty Erdman, and we would do a monthly metaphysical Sunday and just do readings. People would come in and I'd do 15 minutes or half hour with their charts. And so I had that continual practice going on and
Mhm.
associating with new people as we went. So I have to mention those names because I'm really thankful to all of them so much.
Mhm. Yeah, it becomes that where you learn from the people that are around you and then you end up teaching and sharing, which is what you'll be doing at the conference. So you're going to be talking about Venus and Venus Unchained. I am so interested in this topic. What made you focus in on Venus, first of all?
Well, I've been focusing on each one of these planets because when I went for a while, I was not doing conferences when my daughter was growing up and going to school and everything. But when I went back to them in 2009, um, I went to hear the speakers, and I'd heard gone to conferences before, but it seemed that they had, it's like the keywords were same old, same old.
Mm-hmm.
And I wasn't, and I thought I've made progress in that time. And I started with Mercury, and I went to Venus and Mars, and I've been researching each one of them in an exploratory way. In the research um, protocol, when you set up a study, you want to do a literature review and learn about what's already out there and
Mm-hmm.
how does your thesis or theory fit into that. And I wondered about Venus because as I was studying charts and what planets were prominent in charts, I noticed that some of the top scientists of all times had strong Venus in their charts. And I was curious about that. And so that's what started me. When you start a literature review, the focus of your theory or your thesis, it'll change because the incoming information will nudge you in a new direction. It's a journey that unfolds itself. That's what I found.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. A journey that unfolds itself. It's a perfect way to describe it too, because it's sometimes you plan or you plan as much as you can, but you go in
Mm-hmm.
a different direction. And that's the beauty of it is the exploration of Venus. Wow. So that's really cool. So you've been working with Mercury, Venus, and Mars and the outer planets too, or no?
Well, I'm going out there. I've started some on Saturn and Jupiter, and I love the way that around the time I started the research, I started taking vibrational astrology classes as well,
Mm-hmm.
and I learned the new evidence-based input to those definitions. So we're coming up with these newer keywords and concepts for each planet, and that interested me. But I've always been bothered that um, I studied linguistics in college for teaching English as second language.
Hmm.
And English, like many languages, there's a lot of gender-based vocabulary.
Mm-hmm.
And Venus seems stuck in a feminine well, uh, context, vocabulary, and Mars is associated with the male.
Right.
And I think we have to go to more to the core that's more authentic for both. And we can't just, if you look at the Venus in the chart and you want to see, does it make a difference that that's a man's chart or a woman's chart?
Right.
I
That's a good
say,
point.
actually, no. Now, VA says Venus is beauty, Venus is attraction. And I used kept those words in mind, and I looked back through history of the different civilizations. I attended a very beautiful weekend conference with Robert Hand at Fellowship of the Spirit in Lilydale, New York. Lilydale.
Mm-hmm.
It's right next door. And he says, if you're going to look at relationship charts, you have to look at the chart and what does that person expect or look for in a relationship? Are they looking for peace and harmony, or are they looking for a sparring partner? And what's the dynamic of that? They're influenced by their family, but also the way we interpret relationships is different from the Middle Ages.
Yeah.
There was a different culture and a different standard in the culture.
Yeah.
So I looked back through a timeline of different cultures. What kind of astrology were they practicing?
Hmm.
And how was Venus defined? And I found a wide variety of things.
Oh, that's fascinating.
Yeah.
Wow.
In India, in the Vedic tradition, Venus, talk about gender, is a male entity.
Oh, I had no idea.
In in a Chinese culture, it's considered an enemy in
Oh,
some
I didn't know that
interpretations.
either.
Yeah. So here we are waltzing along with our neoclassic Renaissance picture of Botticelli and Venus standing on the half shell. And that's the archetype.
Right.
But I think it's deeper than that.
Right.
It's so much deeper than that. And when you look at the geometry of the Venus orbits with the Earth orbits, and you get the star shape and the Venus points
Mm.
when the Venus and the Earth are conjunct.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah, the symbol that they make when they're doing the dance, the
Yeah,
sky with each other.
exactly, exactly. And every every configuration has has a principle of sacred geometry to learn with
Mm-hmm.
it. And
Yeah. That's
so it goes through those things. It's like I'm reviewing the background material in this lecture and take and have people look a little different at it and find out, its rulership of Taurus, its rulership of Libra, and
Mhm.
how that works out through the cultures. And I
Yeah.
found a pre-Hellenistic and pre-Egypt were the oldest traditions kind of get closer to the core. And I've tried to illustrate each slide in my talk, a
Mm.
little writing and a little picture. And we go through glyphs, we go through,
So you
like I
tell a
said,
story.
yeah, right.
I
And
love
see
that.
how the story has unfolded until we get now when there was a lot of astrology being written before the telescope
Mhm.
was discovered or used. That gave us evidence-based information
Yeah.
that the church would not accept. Like we are not the center of the solar system. It's a
Right.
solar system. So now we have software available to us that lets us discover the vibrational aspects and look deeper into the standard chart that we use. And I want to highlight those and see how far back we can go. And does it also come back and apply to what we're using? It's not that different, but I think the breadth of the information will help to see it more universally and more applicable to everyone without thinking money or romance automatically. Say, look at your Venus. Is this a day to buy a lottery ticket? I don't
Right.
know.
Right. And it makes sense. I mean, those archetypes that we would use for Venus, I like how it's been described as being, they are like birthed from the energy process, if you use the VA words,
Mm-hmm.
of Venus. So that's really cool because it's not that they're not there, it's just that they're not always there. And Venus, going back to what it really is about, is really
Mm-hmm.
beautiful. So this sounds like a really awesome conversation that you're going to have. And this sounds like you're going to be able to help us understand how Venus works in our own chart and look at it both with our own chart and
Mhm.
relationally, like with other people. Is that correct?
Yeah, you can and see how it feels. I also found some books or pieces of literature, other writings that really reflect back on the way that that vibration expresses. I think one of my favorite sources is Joseph Campbell
Mm-hmm.
when he says, follow your bliss.
Mm,
Bliss, that's Venus vibration, what you're attracted to, what is beautiful to you. Is
right.
it just physical beauty or is it an idea? Is it, beauty,
Right.
I think, has a wider definition.
Yeah, to everybody it's different because beauty is in the eye of the beholder, right?
Hmm.
So, it
And
really
how are
does.
you beholding it? As like, where is your Venus?
Ex
And what other planets does it connect to support it or develop it?
Very good. So are you looking at them in the vibrations too? Are you looking at Venus like in the vibrations or more like in the natal chart? In
Well, we'll start with the natal chart. I have a couple natal charts of those people I was curious about, the scientists. Interestingly enough, I found strong Venus in prominent scientists' charts, but I
mm,
looked up women because there weren't as many charts to find.
hmm
Now, I haven't solved this question yet, but I'll put it to you, Starling. What do you think? What I found in women's charts, and maybe because it was needed for them to be scientists, was the sun.
mm, mm. Yeah, that makes sense. I haven't
To,
specifically
to have
looked.
the to have the extra energy to put themselves forward in a
Right.
field where they weren't always welcome.
Mm, that makes sense.
So what maybe the planet, whatever the planet is prominent in your chart, is needed.
Yeah.
And I have a couple quotes and I'll show them. Anyway, it was really the research, the exploratory research process is so important and it is such a journey of discovery.
Mm,
It's before you set up a protocol for studying it or applying it to each chart, you need a little background information. You need a primer. You need the elementary school for what you're studying, whatever your question is.
yeah.
So I think you start with a question.
Yeah,
What
you do.
what can astrology teach me about my question? And I was asking about Venus.
That's awesome. Do you have a prominent Venus in your chart then?
Well, the angular houses 1, 4, 7, and 10.
Mm,
I have Venus in the first, and I don't have any other angular. I have I have planets near the cusps, but they're in the house leading up to that house.
hmm
Venus is in my first house, and it rules my midheaven
Oh, okay.
with
Yeah.
with Libra. So I think in my search, the the uh, the MC is the reach, where you're reaching,
Right.
and um, Venus rules that, and so reaching and having a partner to work with is very important to me. I have Libra on the
hmm
midheaven, and Richard and I work together on studying VA, so that's very fulfilling.
Oh,
And
I
so,
bet.
and so, when you're doing it and you feel the joy is a vibration saying, yes, 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 I want to do that. Keep doing that. Keep doing that.
Mm.
That's why the follow your bliss is important.
Oh,
You're
that makes sense. That makes a lot of sense. Yeah.
yeah, yeah, it does.
Yeah. So very interesting. I'm so excited to hear your talk, and I love hearing the story of how you came to deciding Venus was going to be your focus. I think a lot of people will gain information on understanding themselves, and I think that is how we work and heal ourselves so we can move forward in anything we do, right? So you work with yourself and understanding yourself, and that just kind of leaks outward, you know? So,
Yeah, it is how we see ourselves, and we shouldn't let the old definitions have so much knowledge and wisdom in them, but we shouldn't let them limit us in seeing, appreciating there's a much deeper vibration to the Venus in your chart than
mhm,
you think from your earlier lessons. We
mm,
move on in school and we go to a new school. I'm always um, learning more. As probably what sold me on astrology, because I could see no end to the study. That it would always there would always be something new to study. I love it
yeah,
that way.
it's, yeah, I definitely understand that. So I have a question to wind up our conversation here with. Tell me, if Venus could speak directly to us, what do you think Venus would say to us? Venus, the energy of Venus, the vibration of Venus.
The vibration, well, I have an ending for it. The vibration of Venus, as it expresses like through Taurus, is that you value the earth and all its gifts, and you appreciate the beauty that you see there,
Mm,
and that's working through the heightened senses.
mhm,
Whatever you sense in the present moment, pay attention to that. Also, it would say appreciate and give thanksgiving for everything you perceive.
mm,
Venus would also, in terms of Libra, it's like that phrase from the Native Americans, all my relations. Well,
mm.
who are your relations? Everyone.
Mm. Wow, that's powerful because that's true too with the Libra energy, the
How
connection.
does and realizing that vibrations apply to everything. Everything is under the definition of some vibration.
Yeah, everything
Every
is movement.
everything is in vibration to something else. And
Yeah.
where we experience it most obviously, I think, like through art and music especially, is all harmonics. It's nothing but harmonics.
Yeah. Do you
And
play
why
any
does it make
music?
us and why does it make it feel so good? I sang in choirs. I've played piano and guitar,
Mm.
and my family, well, I figured that was because of my family. My parents just fed us music like crazy.
That's sweet. That's really sweet.
Yeah.
Wow. Well, that's great. So I'm excited to hear your presentation at the conference, and we'll
Thank
look
you.
forward to talking to you more too.
Yeah.
So yeah, is there anything you want to share with the audience? Just a last thought before we wind up here, about your talk, or maybe some wisdom that you have from studying astrology for all these years?
Well, I think each course has given me a sense that I was getting down to the core of astrology.
Mm,
And with VA, especially excited about it because it's really understanding our authentic self,
mm,
and opening you up if you felt less than wonderful about certain characteristics. It teaches you how to appreciate them, and that they are there for your growth. But just I think Venus, of all the planets, because it's looking toward the beauty and what it's attracted to, it's really connected to gratitude.
mm. Oh, that makes sense. Because the connection of what you're attracted to. Yeah, I love
Yeah, when
that.
yeah, when it resonates with your Venus, you're happy, you're joyful, and you're thankful for that.
Yeah, yeah. And when you have the tougher aspects going to your Venus, it's not. tough as in like something hard necessarily, but it's something to shift you. And that's where the resistance is what it gets hard, is if we resist as opposed to allowing it.
Oh yeah, when
So
you
yeah, that's a
like
great,
when you're disappointed with a breakup, or even losing a friend by some means. Lately, when we're older, we start losing our friends,
yeah.
and they're
Yeah,
not they
something.
can't be around anymore, and that's I think the gratitude helps you through that. The appreciation helps you through that rough time.
Yeah, yeah, that does. That makes sense. Well, thank you so much for joining me today and
Thanks for getting
sharing.
in touch.
Yeah, it's been really great. So thanks everybody for watching, and I'll say goodbye.
Bye.
Bye. Thanks for tuning into Cosmic Connections. I hope you enjoyed this conversation from the Fractal Cosmos Conference interviews. If you're craving an in-person experience where you can truly connect, explore, and go deep into evidence-based astrology together, join us next spring in Nashville, Tennessee for the Cosmic Discovery Conference, hosted by the Cosmobiology Institute. I'll be there, and so will many of the voices you've heard throughout the series.